The reflection of distant stars shimmered across the obsidian hull of USS Blackstar as it drifted in the docking bay of Coalition headquarters. The massive space station, a monument to interspecies cooperation, loomed over the relatively modest human vessel. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the viewport of his quarters, gazing at the array of alien ships that dwarfed his own. His weathered face, framed by brown hair, now threaded with silver, remained impassive despite the churning thoughts behind his blue eyes. 30 years had passed since humanity joined the Galactic Coalition, a union of interstellar species that had promised protection, technological advancement, and equal standing among the stars. The reality had proven different. Humans had quickly been relegated to the position of laborers, soldiers, and manual workers, essential but never quite respected as equals. "Captain, we've received our patrol orders," announced Lieutenant Commander Lisa Carter as she entered his quarters. At 35, she carried herself with the poise of someone who had earned her position through merit rather than politics. "We're to monitor the outer border of Sector 7, near Skarn territory." Jake nodded, taking the datapad from her. "Standard patrol route. Nothing we haven't done a dozen times before. The crew is at optimal readiness, sir. Hayes has the gravitational field generator running at peak efficiency, and Parker has completed all navigation calculations." "Good," Jake said. "We depart in 6 hours. Make sure everyone gets some rest before then." As Lisa left, Jake turned back to the viewport. The Blackstar was humanity's pride, a vessel equipped with technology that merged human ingenuity with alien science. Its gravitational field generator could bend energy weapons trajectories, while its modified mining equipment had been repurposed into devastating cutting beams. It wasn't the largest ship in the Coalition fleet, but it was uniquely human in its design and crew composition. Jake made his way to the bridge, nodding to crew members as he passed. The ship housed 2,500 souls, all human, all volunteers who understood the risks of space service. Rick Hayes, his chief engineer, was running diagnostics on the main console, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. Susan Parker, their primary pilot, was reviewing star charts while simultaneously adjusting the ship's stabilizers. Dr. Amy Johnson, their xenobiologist and chief medical officer, was consulting with Laura Miller, communications and psychological warfare specialist, while Steve Walsh, head of security, monitored station activity from a secondary display. "Captain on deck," announced Walsh, causing the bridge crew to stand at attention. "As you were," Jake said, settling into his command chair. "Status report." Hayes spoke first, his voice carrying the slight accent of someone raised in the outer colonies. "Reactor at optimal capacity, gravitational field generator stable, and weapon systems dormant, but ready for activation within 30 seconds. Navigation systems calibrated," Susan added. "Course plotted for Sector 7 with 3 potential hyperspace exit points, depending on conditions." Jake nodded, surveying his crew with pride. Each had served under him for years, forming a cohesive unit that operated with efficiency born of trust and experience. He had spent 20 years in space service, earning a reputation for prioritizing human lives over political expediency, a trait that had kept him from higher promotion within the Coalition hierarchy, but had earned him unwavering loyalty from his crew. "All departments, begin final preparations for departure," Jake ordered. "I want—" "Captain!" Lisa's voice cut through the ambient sounds of the bridge. "Emergency transmission from New Haven Colony." Jake turned sharply. "On screen." The main display flickered to life, showing scenes of chaos and destruction. New Haven, one of humanity's largest colonies with a population of 50,000, was under attack. Massive Skarn warships, reptilian warriors known for their aggression and military prowess, rained fire upon the settlement. Buildings crumbled, defense shields failed, and civilians ran screaming through streets littered with debris. "We're receiving a similar distress call from Aurora Prime," Laura reported. her face pale. "It appears to be a coordinated assault." "The Skarn are taking prisoners," Amy noted, analyzing the footage. "They're not just destroying, they're capturing civilians." Jake's jaw tightened. "Open a channel to Coalition Command, now." Admiral Frank Butler's face appeared on screen, his expression grave. Butler was the highest-ranking human in the Coalition, though his authority was largely ceremonial compared to the alien representatives who held true power. "Morrison, I've seen the reports," Butler said before Jake could speak. "The Coalition Council is convening to discuss diplomatic intervention." "Diplomatic intervention?" Jake echoed, incredulous. "Admiral, they're bombing civilians. We need to deploy the fleet immediately." Butler's expression hardened. "The Council believes a military response could escalate the situation. They're pursuing diplomatic channels first." "While they talk, our people die," Jake said, struggling to contain his anger. "How long before they approve defensive action?" The Nexari representative suggested a formal protest followed by sanctions. "Sanctions?" Jake cut him off. "Admiral, there are 50,000 human lives at stake on New Haven alone. I understand your frustration, Captain, but we must follow Coalition protocols. Stand by for orders." As the transmission ended, silence fell over the bridge. Jake stared at the now blank screen, his mind racing. In that moment, 20 years of frustration crystallized into clarity. The Coalition would deliberate while humans died. Their lives were expendable in the greater political calculation. He stood, his decision made. "Lisa, broadcast on all Coalition frequencies," he ordered, his voice steady. "Channel open, sir." Jake squared his shoulders. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Blackstar. As of this moment, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Coalition. We will no longer stand by while our people are slaughtered, and the Coalition debates protocol. To all humans serving in Coalition forces, remember your oath to protect Earth and her colonies. Choose your path accordingly." He signaled for the transmission to end, then turned to his stunned crew. "I've just committed an act that the Coalition will consider treason," he said calmly. "Anyone who wishes to remain within Coalition jurisdiction may disembark now. I'm taking this ship to New Haven, with or without you." For a moment, no one moved. Then Hayes stepped forward. "The reactor can be pushed to 150% capacity," he said. "It'll get us there faster." One by one, each officer affirmed their commitment. Lisa circulated a document. "Stay on board, fight to the death," which every crew member signed without hesitation. "Sir," Laura said, "monitoring communications. Coalition Command is ordering all human personnel expelled from Coalition facilities. They've declared you a war criminal and prohibited any support of our actions." Jake nodded grimly. "Prepare for hyperspace jump to the Skarn system. We're going to save our people." Within minutes, the Blackstar detached from the station. Coalition ships scrambled to intercept them, but Susan's piloting skills evaded their attempts. As warnings flooded their communication system, the Blackstar's engines flared brilliantly, and the ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving the Coalition behind. The journey through hyperspace was tense. Every crew member understood they were now outcasts, branded as traitors by the very organization they had served faithfully for years. Yet a strange sense of liberation permeated the ship. For the first time, they were acting solely for humanity's interests, without the constraints of alien politics. "Exiting hyperspace in 20 seconds, Susan announced. "Skarn system perimeter ahead." "Battle stations," Jake ordered. "Activate gravitational field generator. Bring weapons online." The Blackstar emerged into normal space at the edge of Skarn territory. Immediately, Lisa's tactical display lit up with contacts. "Captain, I'm reading 212 Skarn vessels in formation around a central command ship. The World Render," she reported. "Multiple vessel classes, heavy energy weapons." "The gravitational field is active," Hayes confirmed. "Enemy energy beams will be deflected." "Take us in, Susan," Jake commanded. Evasive pattern delta. The Blackstar surged forward, its sleek design belying its power. As it approached the Skarn fleet, the first salvos of energy weapons lanced out, only to curve harmlessly around the human vessel. "They're firing blind," Lisa observed. "The gravitational field is working perfectly." "Target the nearest destroyer," Jake ordered. "Show them what we can do." Lisa activated the ship's primary weapon, a repurposed mining beam, now capable of slicing through battleship armor. A brilliant, blue-white beam erupted from the Blackstar, cutting through 3 Skarn vessels in quick succession. The enemy ships split apart, internal atmospheres venting into space as their power cores destabilized and exploded. The Skarn response was immediate and chaotic. More beams fired toward the Blackstar, only to be bent away by the gravitational field. Susan piloted the ship in an intricate dance, weaving between enemy vessels, while Lisa systematically targeted their weak points. Within 10 minutes, the Skarn fleet had lost 32 ships without landing a single hit on the Blackstar. "They're panicking," Laura reported, monitoring Skarn communications. "Their commander is ordering all ships to concentrate fire on us. The World Render is preparing to ram us if necessary." "Perfect," Jake said with grim satisfaction. "Susan, take us directly toward the World Render. Hayes, maximize gravitational field strength around our forward section." The World Render, a massive vessel nearly 20 times the size of the Blackstar, began charging its primary weapon, a devastating energy cannon capable of destroying planets. As the beam fired, the Blackstar's gravitational field bent the energy completely around the ship, sending it harmlessly into space. In that moment of the enemy's confusion, Jake gave the order. "Fire main cutting beam, continuous burst. Target their reactor core." The Blackstar's weapon lanced out, slicing through the World Render's hull as if it were paper. The beam penetrated layer after layer of alien armor, finally reaching the core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the massive Skarn flagship began to break apart, secondary explosions cascading along its length before the central reactor detonated in a blinding flash. "World Render destroyed," Lisa announced, unable to keep the awe from her voice. The remaining Skarn vessels began to retreat in disarray. Their formation shattered. They fled in all directions, some colliding with each other in their panic. "We've intercepted a transmission," Laura said. "From Warrer Skarks, their fleet commander. He's warning all Skarn forces. Humans have a monster ship. Retreat." A cheer erupted on the bridge. In a single engagement, they had destroyed the pride of the Skarn fleet and sent the rest running without suffering so much as a scratch. "This is just the beginning," Jake reminded them, silencing the celebration. "The Skarn still hold New Haven and Aurora Prime. Our people are still dying or being taken prisoner. We need to hit them where it hurts." After the initial battle, Rick Hayes and Dr. Amy Johnson worked tirelessly to decode the data they'd captured from the destroyed Skarn vessels. Within hours, they had mapped the Skarn supply routes and identified a critical target, Korvac Station, the central fuel and weapons depot that supplied the entire Skarn border fleet. "If we can destroy Korvac, we'll cripple their ability to wage war," Rick explained, pointing to the holographic display. "Their ships will be stranded without fuel and ammunition." "It's heavily defended," Lisa cautioned, studying the tactical readouts. 70 escort vessels and a defense grid designed to repel a full fleet. "We're not a fleet," Jake said. "We're one ship they won't see coming until it's too late." The Blackstar made a series of short hyperspace jumps, avoiding main travel routes to approach Korvac Station undetected. As they neared their target, Laura activated a special electronic warfare program she had developed, broadcasting children's laughter and music from human colonies into the Skarn communication networks. The psychological impact was immediate. Skarn commanders reported hearing ghost sounds and human spirits, creating confusion and fear before the Blackstar even appeared. When they finally dropped out of hyperspace near Korvac, the station's defenses were already in disarray. Susan guided the ship through the maze of fuel tanks and storage facilities, using the station's own bulk as a shield against its defenders. "Target their power distribution nodes," Jake ordered. "Cut them off from their defense grid." Lisa directed the cutting beam with surgical precision, severing the connections between the station's reactor and its weapon systems. As Skarn fighters launched to intercept them, Hayes maximized the gravitational field, causing most of their shots to curve back toward the station itself. For 2 hours, the Blackstar engaged in a deadly dance around Korvac Station. Susan's piloting skills were pushed to their limits as she navigated through increasingly dense debris fields created by their own attacks. One by one, the 70 escort vessels were destroyed or disabled, leaving the station defenseless. With a final series of precision strikes, the Blackstar severed the station's structural supports. Korvac began to break apart, its reactor going critical as containment fields failed. The resulting explosion illuminated space for millions of kilometers, a testament to humanity's resolve. During their analysis of captured data, Amy made a disturbing discovery. The Skarn had established 12 prisoner camps where they were conducting experiments on human captives, including children. The files contained coordinates for each facility, all scattered throughout Skarn territory. "We can't leave them there," Amy insisted, her voice shaking with controlled fury as she showed Jake the images of suffering humans. "Whatever they're doing to our people, it has to stop." "It will," Jake promised. "We'll hit every camp and free every prisoner." The Blackstar embarked on a systematic campaign to liberate the prisoner camps. Each facility presented unique challenges, from those with minimal defenses to others protected by mini-fleets. At Alpha Camp, defended by 4 escort ships, Lisa proposed attacking from behind, disrupting their sensor network before the Skarn could organize a response. The strategy worked perfectly within 30 minutes. They had destroyed the guards and freed 200 prisoners, many of whom were children. Beta Camp proved more challenging, hidden within an asteroid field that provided natural cover for its defenders. Susan employed what she called orbital momentum tactics, using the gravitational pull of larger asteroids to slingshot the Blackstar through gaps too small for pursuing Skarn vessels. As enemy ships fired blindly, they often hit their own allies. Rick deployed a localized EMP burst that disabled the Skarn shields, allowing Lisa to target their weapons with precision. By the time they breached the camp itself, the defenders were in complete disarray, and 350 more humans were liberated. Camp after camp fell to the Blackstar's relentless assault. At each location, Laura broadcast the sounds of previous battles, Skarn screams of terror, and the distinctive whine of the Blackstar's cutting beam, creating a psychological warfare effect that often led to Skarn surrendering before fighting began. Within weeks, all 12 camps had been liberated, freeing more than 2,000 human prisoners. The Skarn had lost half their escort fleet, and their entire experimental program had been destroyed. Stories of the Blackstar spread throughout Skarn territory, creating a near-mythological fear of the human vessel that could appear anywhere and vanish just as quickly. But the Blackstar's victories did not go unnoticed by the Galactic Coalition. Emergency sessions were called at Harmony Point, the Coalition's neutral meeting ground. Representatives of 12 species gathered to address what they now termed the human insurrection. "This rogue vessel has upset the balance of power in an entire sector," declared the Nexari delegate. "If allowed to continue, it could destabilize the entire coalition." "The humans were always too aggressive, too unpredictable," agreed the Zephyrian representative. "This is precisely why they were kept in a subordinate position." After days of debate, an unprecedented decision was reached. The coalition would form an anti-human alliance consisting of 500 ships drawn from all 12 member species. Their mission: to destroy the USS Blackstar and make an example of those who defied coalition authority. Intelligence suggested the Blackstar would return to New Haven, the site of the initial Skarn attack, and now a memorial to the 50,000 humans who had died there. It was a location of tremendous symbolic importance to humans, and the Coalition believed Jake Morrison would be drawn to it. They were right. After 6 months of continuous combat operations, the Blackstar was showing signs of strain. Rick reported that the reactor could only sustain peak output for a few more weeks. The gravitational field generator had developed stress fractures, and weapon systems frequently required recalibration. "We've hurt them," Jake told his exhausted crew as they approached New Haven. "We've shown the Skarn and the Coalition what happens when they underestimate humanity. But our fight isn't over." "Sir," Laura interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission from the Coalition fleet. Admiral Korvex of the Nexari wishes to speak with you." Jake nodded, and the alien admiral's image appeared on screen. Korvex's crystalline features showed no emotion, but his tone conveyed contempt. "Captain Morrison, your ship is surrounded by 500 Coalition vessels. You have violated numerous Coalition laws and attacked peaceful members of our alliance. Surrender now, and your crew may be spared." Jake smiled thinly. "Admiral, I think you misunderstand our purpose. We didn't leave the Coalition to fight against it. We left because when our people were dying, the Coalition chose politics over lives. This battle isn't about rebellion. It's about ensuring that every species in this galaxy understands that human lives are not expendable. We fight to honor the memory of those who died at New Haven, while the Coalition debated protocol." "Then you will die here," Korvex stated flatly. "Perhaps," Jake conceded. "But win or lose, after today, no one will ever forget what it means to face humanity when our backs are against the wall." As the transmission ended, Jake addressed his crew. "I won't lie to you. We're outnumbered 500 to 1. Our ship is damaged, and our chances of survival are minimal. But whether we win or lose doesn't matter. What matters is that we fight to our last breath, so that every species in this galaxy will remember. Humans never surrender." The crew responded with a standing ovation. Each person present had seen what one ship could accomplish against impossible odds. They had liberated thousands, destroyed hundreds of enemy vessels, and changed the face of interstellar warfare. If this was to be their final battle, they would make it one for the history books. As the Coalition fleet closed in, Rick pushed the reactor to 200% capacity, bypassing all safety protocols. The gravitational field generator hummed at maximum power, though fluctuations in its output indicated it was nearing failure. All non-essential systems were shut down, diverting every ounce of power to weapons and defenses. Susan piloted the Blackstar directly into the heart of the enemy formation, executing a series of maneuvers that no ship of its size should have been capable of performing. The cutting beam fired continuously, slicing through the largest Coalition dreadnoughts as if they were made of cloth. Initially, the battle seemed to favor the Blackstar. The gravitational field bent enemy fire away, while Lisa's targeting ensured that each shot from their own weapons found a vulnerable point in enemy hulls. Within 30 minutes, nearly half the Coalition fleet had been destroyed or disabled. "Enemy vessels remaining, 237, Lisa reported, a note of hope in her voice. But the strain on the Blackstar was beginning to show. The gravitational field flickered as power fluctuations became more severe. Occasional enemy shots got through, impacting the hull and causing internal damage. Warning lights flashed across every console as systems began to fail. Laura implemented the final phase of her psychological warfare strategy, broadcasting the recorded sounds of human prisoners being tortured, sounds they had captured during their liberation of the Skarn camps, across all Coalition frequencies. The effect was devastating. Many Coalition ships broke formation, their crews disturbed by the reminder of what they had allowed to happen. However, the Blackstar's advantages were rapidly diminishing. The reactor's containment field was beginning to fail, and the gravitational field generator showed multiple fractures in its crystal matrix. "Reactor critical," Rick reported grimly. We have maybe 15 minutes before it goes completely. When it does, this ship becomes a very big fireball. Jake nodded, accepting the inevitable. Take us right into the center of their formation. Susan, if we're going down, we're taking as many of them with us as possible. Susan guided the failing ship on a spiral course into the densest cluster of enemy vessels. As the Blackstar's systems failed one by one, Lisa focused their remaining weapon power on the Coalition flagship, the cutting beam, now unstable and fluctuating in intensity. Nonetheless, penetrated the flagship's shields and carved a path through its command center. All emergency pods ready for ejection, Steve reported. Last chance for evacuation, Captain. Jake shook his head. I'm staying with my ship. Anyone who wants to leave, now's the time. Not a single crew member moved toward the escape pods. Instead, they stood at attention at their stations, honoring their captain and the oath they had taken months before. We are human, Jake said quietly, looking at each of his bridge officers in turn. We never give up. With its reactor reaching critical mass, the Blackstar channeled its last reserves of power into one final attack against a massive Coalition battlecruiser that had moved alongside. The cutting beam, now wild and uncontrolled, sliced the enemy vessel in half moments before the Blackstar's own reactor containment failed completely. The explosion that followed was visible across half the sector, a sphere of pure energy that consumed everything within a radius of several dozen kilometers. When the light faded, all that remained was debris, scattered across space like a new asteroid field. The remnants of the Coalition fleet, now reduced to fewer than 100 badly damaged vessels, had no appetite for further conflict. They retreated, leaving the New Haven system to the silence of space and the memory of those who had fought there. Laura had ensured that data from their final battle was automatically transmitted to neutral stations throughout the sector. Every species in the galaxy witnessed how a single human ship had destroyed nearly half of a combined Coalition fleet before finally falling. The impact was immediate and profound. The Coalition Council convened in emergency session, confronted with the realization that their dismissal of humanity had been a catastrophic misjudgment. One small ship collapsed our entire alliance, admitted the Voidkin representative. Perhaps we have underestimated these humans all along. Admiral Frank Butler. After reviewing the footage of the Blackstar's battles, including the rescue of prisoners and its final, glorious end, made a formal statement. The Coalition must officially apologize to humanity and invite us to rejoin as equals. Furthermore, all human colonies must be provided with modern defensive equipment to prevent another tragedy like New Haven. In the months that followed, humanity's status within the galactic community underwent a fundamental change. The Coalition formally recognized humans as Class A members, with direct participation in all strategic decisions and policy-making processes. New Haven was rebuilt, and at its center stood a memorial in the shape of the USS Blackstar, inscribed with the names of the 2,500 crew members who had given their lives. The inscription read simply, "Humans never surrender in defense of family and dignity." Though the Coalition had been reformed, suspicions remained on both sides. Some alien factions still distrusted humans, viewing their potential for military innovation as a threat. Meanwhile, remnants of the Skarn forces plotted revenge from the shadows. In a research facility on Venus, scientists examining material recovered from the Blackstar explosion made a startling discovery. Fragments of the gravitational field generator remained partially intact. The technology, once thought to be unique to the Blackstar, could potentially be replicated. This finding suggested that a new arms race might be brewing, one that could change the balance of power throughout the galaxy once again. The sacrifice of the USS Blackstar had awakened the entire Milky Way to a fundamental truth. There would be no retreat for those who threatened the safety of innocent humans. The era of treating humanity as second-class citizens in the cosmos had ended in fire and glory, replaced by a new respect born of fear and admiration. As for Captain Jake Morrison and his crew, their names became legendary, symbols of the indomitable human spirit that, when pushed to its limits, could accomplish the impossible. The story of the Blackstar would be told for generations, a reminder that sometimes one ship standing against an entire galaxy could change the course of history forever.